Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. Now, last week, one of the biggest, well definitely the biggest update and the only major balance change update we had to Black Ops 4, which probably changed nearly half the weapons almost. It seems like they touched so many weapons, all of the assault rifles, 2/3 of the tactical rifles, a couple of SMGs, I think all the snipers, a lot of LMGs. There's a lot of tuning changes, and of course I've talked about the patch notes. I've made videos saying, you know, the Vest Vapor class after the update, the top 5 weapons after the update, because I do believe they have changed a couple bit. But I have seen a lot of people in this community, this update has had some positive feedback, but there's a lot of like really negative feedback around this update. And after, you know, when that first came out, I was like, okay, I gotta, you know, usually before I hate on something or love something, you know, I'm a passionate person, but I need to test something out and I need to get the actual facts behind it. So definitely I've had some good play time with the majority of the weapons that have been updated, or at least against some of the weapons, and with the weapons, the majority of them, since this update, because it's been like almost a week, I think. So I wanted to make this video and give my honest opinions, because I've been looking at the patch notes, and this is something I'm passionate about, this game. Like, I think about this. Like, I think about if I was working at Treyarch, what would I fix in the game? And this patch update, it was okay, but it's nowhere near perfect, and we got to talk about that. So drop a like on this thing, and hopefully this will help improve the game. Let's go 1,500 likes. Smack that like button. I'd really appreciate it. You guys, the support has been incredible, and I'm happy because it's a new Call of Duty game, and that's what's awesome, is the support's amazing. I'm having fun playing the game. I'm having fun talking about the game. I mean, if I'm thinking about, like, I'm laying in bed thinking about patch notes, you know, I'm fully nerded out on this game. So drop a like on this thing. Let's go for 1,500 likes. Like I said, subscribe if you guys are new and not already subscribed. We are so damn close to 900k, and let's talk about this is just my honest opinion on what I think. So basically, if I was to write a consensus or you know, make this update into the most simple way, take it as a football play. Now, I'm pretty sure most people know the basics of football. You know, I'm talking American football, NFL, whatever, right? So basically, what I would say is this update, it was a nice 20-yard completion, a nice pass to the wide receiver, but 20 yards up the field is nowhere near field goal range or nowhere near, you know, touchdown range. And that's why I think that this was a good starting play. Like I said, a nice 20-yard catch, a nice play for a first down. But I don't think this update, they need to do more updates very soon. And let me think about it. So my biggest concerns about this update, the good thing is, okay, I have a lot of faith in Treyarch. BO3 was the most updated Call of Duty game. I think that's pretty much undisputable. There's like 50 DLC, like weapons and melee weapons, and then as well as the constant updates they did, the balance changes and stuff like that. I mean, you do have to do more balance changes when you have so many damn weapons, you know? But basically, on my opinion, as far as these patch notes go, I feel like they sort of just took the assault rifles and they made them just more awkward and worse to use, while not really making the SMGs or anything else too much affected. So they made the ARs worse to use, but the ARs are still way better. So it just makes it more of an awkward position where you're going to be sort of struggling with any weapon you pick in some sort of way. Of course, with the ICR or the Vapor, you're not going to struggle at killing them, but you're going to struggle at maybe strafing with the ICR that doesn't have a stock, or reloading, and that's okay. But one thing that really concerns me is, in previous CODs, whenever they nerf or buff weapons, there was a couple things they always, you know, adjusted. One was the ADS and the speeds around that, the damage ranges. Yes, those are what they changed in the majority of these patch notes. With the assault rifles, if you guys haven't seen the full patch notes, which you probably, if you're a fan of this game, you should check out the video I uploaded like, whatever, 4 days ago, whenever it came out, 5 days ago. So with these ARs, what they did change is the reduction to the ADS movement speed, the ADS in transition speed, and they increased the damage ranges of the SMGs. But I really don't think that did crap, because I mean, it did something for like an MX-9, but that gun was already weak before, and now that it's good, it doesn't really change anything. The Cordite extending damage ranges, like I said in my video on that, it's nice to have, but that's a gun where you're going to be using it at close range. So if you're going to buff a close range gun, buffing a gun for long range, it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? That makes no sense at all. And that's why I think that what really concerns me about this update, and I hope in the next update that they're not afraid to go at the assault rifles or go at the SMGs and deal with recoil. I know that this game has predictable recoil patterns, and I think that's why they're scared to deal with it, because in reality, what should have been done on this first update is, yeah, slow down the ARs a little bit, but possibly add some recoil to something like the ICR or the Vapor. That would be a good change, or change the fire rate. We had this similar problem in Call of Duty World War II, and I'm someone that's been a fan of this game for so many years now, and I've just seen it's a cycle, right? The same problems come, the same solutions, you know, usually are applied. So this happened in World War II with the bar. That gun was just ridiculous. It was like the ICR, and they lowered the fire rate, they added some recoil, and it eventually got more balanced out. With this game, I think that they're really afraid to touch recoil because they spent so much time programming that. And as far as the fire rate goes, I think that's what needs to be addressed. Because in my opinion, the fact that the assault rifles are better, no one's debating that. An SMG is way better at strafing, an SMG is more mobile. That's not the problem. And an SMG can win. The problem is when an ICR can hip fire down a cordite, or the problem really lies not even in the recoil a little bit, but mainly in the fire rates. And this is if you wanted to balance the game properly, you know. I mean, some people don't care, you know. Some people just find their best gun is, oh, ICR is the best, Maddox is the best, I'm just going to use it every single game until they nerf it. But, you know, as a YouTuber, I want to give constructive criticism, and I'm not saying the changes that I would want necessarily, because, you know, I mean, well, if I was being biased, hey, just give me the strong AR and let me dominate every lobby. But, you know, good changes for the game. I'm thinking of it from an Activision Treyarch standpoint and a fan base standpoint. I really think that recoil and fire rates need to be addressed in the next update. Now, assault rifles are still the best. Tactical rifles are still the best. SMGs still pale in comparison. And I think it really is due to the recoil and the fire rate. It's not due to the ADS speeds or anything like that. And I think one of the issues when I was thinking about this last night, I was thinking like, or was it this morning or last night? I don't know. My sleeping schedule's been like kind of all over the place since this game came out, because I've just been like, whenever it's like double XP, I was staying up all night, different stuff like that. You know, some nights I just feel like grinding. You play a couple games and you should look at the clock and you've been playing for like a couple hours sometimes. But what was I saying about what I really think is that, okay, say you have 100 health, right? And that's what every other COD had. Now this COD has 150 health and a manual healing system. So it's a big change off the start. So SMGs traditionally would take more bullets to kill and have a higher fire rate. But if the health has been increased from 100 to 150 and your SMGs damage are still hitting for, you know, your SMGs are hitting for 20 sometimes, or 27, 30, stuff like that. And then you have an auger which can hit for like 2 tap kills to 150 health just with one headshot. I think it's like 100 to the head with high cal, 60 to the body. I mean, you just see where with the increased health, I think that should have been taken into consideration when dealing with the SMGs. Now compare it to a game that I'm sure a lot of you guys know, in a game that I know I'm very familiar with as well, which is Fortnite. So in Fortnite, the most health you can have right now is 200, right? But say hypothetically they increase the health to 300. You probably wouldn't want to spray with that SMG that hits for, you know, 20 or 40 for a headshot, because it's going to take you like 15 bullets to kill them, right? You're going to want to pull out that golden scar that hits for 70 to the head, and I think that's one thing that has been lost in this game. With the updated health, that really changes the playing field, and it makes something like an auger. This thing can 2-tap 150 HP if you do have high caliber. That's ridiculous. That's just insane, and that's so cool to have that in the game, but they still have to update other things. So as far as the AR nerfs, I think that they nerfed the wrong things on them. SMG, I think they buffed the wrong things on them, and I think these are still good changes. I mean, anything that's a nerf to the best and a buff to the minus is always going to be good. So like I said, this is a good update, but it's not nearly... More updates are going to come, and I definitely think they need to be. As far as the sniper rifles, that's another interesting place as well, with sniper rifles and shotguns, because those are traditionally one-hit weapons at 100 health. Now that we're up to 150 health, I think it's really just an awkward transition time, and especially with, you know, competitive Call of Duty becoming 5v5, casual public matches Call of Duty becoming 5v5, becoming the specialist system where you can only pick one of each specialist. I mean, this game has changed. I mean, this is not how, I mean, if you pick up the game and play it, yeah, it feels like normal Call of Duty, which is great, but the mechanics around it has changed, and I think that more care needs to be taken into the balance in terms of guns. One thing I will say, though, the attachments balance was a decent job with the grip 2, I don't know why they nerfed Suppressor, but with the Elo, I don't really know why Elo's adding recoil as well. But they did a good job with Grip 2 and just with addressing the sights, the crappy sights, holographic, dual zoom, and recon, making those better. And they did do a good job with the Specialist as well. I really do think that the Specialist changes they made were positive, and that was if like I said, if the gun balance changes were a 20-yard pass, the Specialist change were probably a 50 or 60-yard Hail Mary, because they made some really good changes to those. I will say that. As far as spawns are, I'm the type of guy that likes to have tight spawns. You can sort of, get high kill gameplays. But I definitely think the changes that they made to the Specialists were great. I think the guns, I really think that the streaks are kind of good. I think that the perks, attachments, and guns are what they need to focus on as far as balance changes go. And once they get that down, which I'm confident they will in a couple more updates. I mean, look at other games. Look at Black Ops 3. Look at World War II. It took 5 or so updates before we found that middle meta and stuff like that. So I'm excited for the future, and I just want to make this video to talk about, because a lot of people are hating on this update. And while I think some of the hate is valid on the update, I think you got to say this is step 1 in a process, And hopefully the next update comes out sometime this month, which will get us to an even better meta and make some of those guns that are, fun to use, but not as strong, a little bit better. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like and subscribe, and I'm out. Peace. See you in the next one.